Well, hello everyone. Good evening. I am so thrilled to be with you on another Monday night for a great reading of House of Flesh. We are now in chapter 8, and boy, there are some things happening in this book. This is a really fun read, and I'm glad that I got it. I'm enjoying it. Today, I am wearing my Fatbird Finds merch. Let's see, I can angle that down a little bit. I got my Fatbird Finds shirt, my blue brooch, and my blue hat. So that is what we are wearing today. I see a couple of people joining us in the chat. Linda Punky is here. Hello, Linda. Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you are here. It's just so great to be with you all for another Monday night. Now, this book is getting pretty saucy. Last week we had Dr. Doan's wife and the main character, the basketball player. They kind of hooked up a little bit in the kitchen. So we'll have to see what happens next in this story, because there is quite a lot of interesting characters here in Norset. And Doo-Wop Bob is here. Hello, Bob, my rockin' rodent. Welcome, welcome. And Kelly's Peek into the Past is here. Hello, hello. Good day. I'm so glad all of you guys are here. I hope you're having a good day. It's finally nice and sunny here. It's been pretty rainy in Florida the past couple of days, so I hope you all are having a good day. I am packing orders from Live Sale on Saturday, so if you did buy something from me on Saturday with my sale with Sean at Key Totally Vintage, make sure that you go and look for the invoice, because that will be coming soon later this evening. Hi, Elba. Welcome, welcome. I'm glad you're here. And Helen Booty is joining us. Hello. And of course, Louie, you can probably hear her. She says hello to all of you and sends pug love. Now, tonight, there's a lot of exciting events happening. I believe that Tim, and over the years, he'll be having his sale at 8 o'clock Eastern. So that's 8 o'clock Eastern for Tim at Over the Years. And I saw his sneak peek preview show this afternoon. And let me tell you, he's got some really great things lined up for the live sale tonight. So you want to go check that out at 8 o'clock Eastern. There is also George, the Antique Nomad. Uncle Professor George will be having his event at 8 o'clock as well. That's Eastern Standard Time. And he'll be having his premiere. So we all need our education from Uncle Professor George. So that will be tonight at 8 o'clock. And also at 8, Vintage Rescue Squad will be on, Vintage Rescue Squad. And I'm very excited about that. Cindy from Mimi's Treasure Cottage will be on, Patrick, the trusty huckster mercantile, the fabulous Michael Todd, and Misty, of course. So it will be on Thrifter, Junker, Vintage Hunters channel. That's at 8. And those are all of the things that I know going on in the vintage community tonight. Of course, in the vinyl community, there is always a vinyl sale. Probably Adam from Record Crate will be having a live sale at some point on his channel. And just hang around all the channels that you really like. Hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so you know when they go live. That way you can choose what you want to watch. And let's see, Bob saying, I rescued an actual rodent yesterday. He hangs around here and was stuck in the bathtub. Well, Bob, I'm glad you rescued him. Vlada would be very, very proud of you. And I see Maria is joining us. Hello, Maria. Hi, Becky is Vintage. No, you did not miss the book reading. We have not started yet. But yes, there was a live sale on Saturday, which you were there for, I believe, Becky. So you did not miss that. I'm packing your order up, and I see Tia Fane is here. Thank you. I'm glad you like the blue hat. Fun Canada. We got so many people from around the world. I just love it. I love when we have all different kinds of people from all different places around the U.S. and the world tuning in. That's always very exciting. So welcome, everybody, and thanks for joining us. So I am continuing my read tonight of this 1950s House of Flesh book. Now, this is a fantastic book by Bruno Fischer, or Fisher, however you'd like to say it. And this is a Fawcett gold medal book, and you can read on gold medal books. They are really fascinating. They changed the publishing industry forever. They really did a lot of good things. So gold medal books have a great history, and I'm glad that I get to read one. I see Proud American is joining in. Hello, Proud American. And yes, we got to see what this doctor is going to do. He is a really weird, I have to say. He's very weird. He's not very competent at his job, Dr. Doan. And he just seems like he can't take care of animals, and he murders people, evidently. So there's a lot of mystery in this book that I can't wait to find out what happens. Now, with old books, the pages do fall out, and I just lost some of the pages of this book. So let me pick this up very quickly. That does happen with old books, that they lose their binding, and I think that sometimes these old books, the glue just doesn't hold. So I've been really careful with this one, but it's the front couple of pages are just coming loose, but no other issues. So we still are good with the rest of the book, but I just lost the first couple of pages. And I'm sure there's a way you could probably have some of these rebound at some point. I think there's probably a way to do that, but I'm glad that this has held up all these years, because this is really a fantastic book. So let's see who else is in the chat. I see Daniel coming in from Tacky Is Me. Hi, Daniel. Welcome, welcome. And Tia Fane is saying, murder is one thing, but being mean to animals is unforgivable. Yes. Tia Fane, I'm sorry. I don't like that Dr. Doan. I don't think that he's treating those animals in his care very well, but we're going to have to see about that. There's a lot happening in this book. That you got Dr. Doan, who's the weird veterinarian, his wife, who's really, I would say that she's probably going to end up sleeping with the main character. That's my best guess. I think that's going to happen, although they had a little rendezvous in the kitchen in the last chapter. And, of course, we've got Polly Wellman and all the drama that goes on with her. She's the mailman's daughter. She works at the mail store, and that's kind of the hub for all the drama in town. So you have her, and they've gone on a couple of dates, and then you've got Conrad Hickey and his new drawings. So there's quite a bit happening in this book. I'll tell you, it's really fun reading all this saucy stuff from the 50s. Thank you, Daniel. I appreciate that. Yes, I've got a blue brooch on today with the Aurora Borealis stones, and it's very sparkly and fun. I think it's an Austrian brooch, but I'm not exactly sure. It's not marked, but I think it's just gorgeous. So, guys, I am so glad to have you here. Now, I'm waiting a little bit before we get started into the reading, because I know some people are still coming in, so I want to make sure that I start when people get a chance to come in and settle in. Conrad Hickey is a great name, yes. Whoever picked the names for these books, I will tell you, they did a really good job, because I think that they fit the characters extremely well. I really do. And the writing is good in these old books. I really am surprised how well written these are. They really are fantastic. So I'm glad that we get to read them. And I have a good pile now of these vintage books. So we will hopefully be continuing the reading series after this. I do want to work out a little bit, make sure I'm not violating some sort of copyright law reading these books. I don't think that I am, because these are older books, but some of them I don't know if they're in the public domain or not. So before I continue with my next book, I want to make sure I'm in the clear, but we will definitely finish this book. I've had no issues so far, so I think we're doing just fine. Judy Scalet is here. Hello, Judy. Welcome, welcome. Yes, this one really is, Bob. They do a good job. I mean, you can just picture everything. The imagery is really well written. It's great. The imagery is fantastic. So what have you guys been up to today? Did you find any fun vintage things over the weekend? I'm very interested to see what all you guys have been finding. Now, if you're not following me on Instagram at vintage_and_vinyl, you really should be, because I post a lot of fun sneak peeks. And if you want to see Louie, I post Louie on my Instagram from time to time, so you can get a little look at Louie. And today I posted some fun photos when I was in New York. I took a bunch of photos, and so I posted those to my stories. I was kind of doing a little virtual travel trip today, I think, on Instagram. I've really been missing New York lately, so I hope to be back to that soon. I hope we can all be back to traveling soon. That will be really fantastic when we can do that. And I'm hoping, I don't know when this will be, of course, things have to settle down a little bit more, but I'm really hoping that we can have a Florida meetup. So that would be fun. I'd love a Florida meetup for everybody in Florida. We have, let's see, Lori Blue Flamingos in Florida, Alex, Chapter 2 Vintage Co's in Florida, Christine, Side Street Market, I think Tammy, Renee Walker's in Florida. So we have lots of Florida folks here, and I think it would be really fun to do a Florida meetup and do some thrifting and vintage shopping. That would just be really great. So we got to work on that soon. And hopefully when all of this ends and we're safe to do so, we can have a YouTube convention or like a reseller vintage convention meetup. That would be really fun. Hi, LJ. Thanks for joining us. You're coming in from Minnesota. That's fantastic. Again, I just love that we have people from all over the world tuning in and all over the U.S. That's just really exciting to me. Oh, yeah, Gino's in Florida too. Yeah, lots of folks in Florida. So that would be fun. We'll have to do some sort of a Florida meetup. I would love that. Of course, things got to settle down a little bit first before we can do that, but I'm excited about that. So again, don't forget, Vintage Rescue Squad is tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time with Patrick, the trusty huckster mercantile, Cindy from Mimi's Treasure Cottage, Michael Todd, and Misty from Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter. And Michael Todd has launched his YouTube channel. So if you don't know, Michael Todd was only on Instagram, and now he's got a YouTube, and his content is great. He's got 3 videos up. So if you're not subscribed to The Cult of Vintage on YouTube, definitely go check him out. And, of course, on Instagram. So that's exciting coming up. Tim, over the years, another fabulous channel to follow. He's got some great finds. And I just watched his glass video that dropped today. Oh, my gosh, guys. He got some amazing things at the Fill-A-Box. Oh man, I'm telling you. So his live sales are really awesome. He has great prices and great vintage. So check him out. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern tonight. And then, of course, George, the Antique Nomad, is on at 8 for a premiere. So lots of things happening. And, as the calendar gets full, it just becomes harder and harder to decide what to watch. But I always do split screens, and I try to make my rounds to everything that I can because there's so much I always want to see at one time. And we try not to overlap, but of course, it's kind of impossible with that calendar getting as full as it is. Everybody doing lives and sales and premieres these days, so it just does become hard. So tune in to what you want to tune in tonight, and you always have the option of doing multiple screens as well. Yes, Michael's channel is very cool. He just posted a great video of his collections, and oh man, he's got some great things. Hi, Daniel. I think I said hello to you already, but yes, I would love to meet you in person too. That would be lots of fun. Okay, guys, so we're about 13 minutes into the live, and I think that's given enough people a chance to come in, say hello, get settled, and we'll go ahead and start the reading. Now, if you're coming in as I'm reading and I miss you, I'm sorry. I can't stop the reading to say hello to everybody, but I will definitely do that at the end. Yes, such great community. I really agree. We have some fantastic folks in this vintage community, and it would be fun to do a meetup. Okay, so we are in Chapter 8 of House of Flesh, great gold medal book here, and I'm going to continue that reading right now. Oh, and a quick hello before I get started. I saw my best friend Chastity's popping in, so hello, Chastity. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate that, and I miss you very much. I hope we can get back to seeing each other soon. That would be lots of fun. All right, so House of Flesh, Chapter 8, right now. Polly Wellman brought my mail out to me. She came around the grocery counter and handed it to me and whispered, "Harry, what did I do to make you mad at me?" She needn't have whispered. It was the drowsy hour after lunch, and she was tending both the store and the post office, and we were alone together for the first time since we had taken that walk to the creek. I uttered a deprecating laugh. What gives you that idea? The way that you treated me since then. You come in here every day and act as if you hardly know me. What do you expect me to do with a store full of people and your parents around? You might at least make a date, or you expect me to beg you? Footsteps approached from the back room of the store. Is this the most private place you can pick? We were merely standing rather close together, but whoever he was preferred to amuse himself by pretending he had embarrassed us. He was a nattily dressed man with a brushed mustache under a button nose. You're an idiot, George, Polly said warily and went back behind the counter. He looked me over and moved forward. Say, I don't know you. I don't think I do. He frowned at me. Polly didn't bother to introduce us. She angrily bruised herself, and then she straightened the candy display. I'll be damned, he explained. You're Harry Wild. I admitted it. Sure, he said. Guess you never saw me, but I've seen you play plenty of times. Me? I'm the prodigal son, George Wellman, Polly's big brother. He stuck out a hand, which I shook melancholy. He looked like an English Avenue Sharpie. What interested me about him was that he had the lad a couple of years ago who had brought Layla Doan to North Sat. It was that visit with him that night during which he had probably met Kenneth Doan for the first time. You know who he is, Polly? He was saying. The best damn basketball player. Without him, the Gothams wouldn't be anywhere. He thumped my arm. Say, what are you doing in this hick dump? I was wondering the same about him. Was he visiting his parents because Layla Doan lived in the village? I'm spending the summer here, I muttered. That's so. Where? Mr. Hickey had said he was a gambler, and I had no use for vermin who lived off my sweat. But there was no point in me being impolite to Polly's brother in her presence. I told him I had rented the Hickey bungalow. Taking it easy, huh? He nodded sympathetically. Yeah, I heard you were a crack-up. Over a dame, wasn't it? It's always a dame. From behind the counter, Polly was listening, wide-eyed. Her lower lip quivered. Well, I'll be going, I said. Goodbye, Polly. She tossed her head and said nothing. Again, I hadn't asked her for a date. So long, Harry, called George Wellman. Be seeing you around, I guess. By the time I had walked halfway home, Polly was out of my thoughts. Another woman possessed them. I half expected to find a note under my door, but there was nothing. I read the newspaper and I did a tough double acrostic. I was particularly grateful for the fiendish form of puzzle because it kept my brain really occupied. In the evening, Bill Hickey stopped to suggest gin rummy. I got rid of him by saying I had a headache. I had to be alone in case Layla Doan showed up, but she didn't. The next morning, I passed up my pre-breakfast walk. I remained in bed until 10. I wasn't tired. I just hadn't the will to do anything. I didn't go for the mail at all, and it was only partially because Polly would be there. That night, I read until 3 in the morning. I awoke to the sound of rain. For a long time, I lay in bed listening to it. At noon, I dressed and made lunch and started another double acrostic. But now even that was no good. I was beginning to appreciate the irony of Conrad Hickey's toast. To Maxine Suter's understanding and sympathy. I hadn't taken up an endless vigil outside Layla's door, but I was waiting. The phone rang. Though she had said she would not risk a phone call, my heart leaped. It was a woman's voice, but not the right one. Polly's voice. Harry, what are you doing on a rainy Sunday afternoon? Sunday? I had lost track the last few days. It just become so blurred. Sitting around, I said. Well, it's a good Sunday afternoon for the movies. I started to think up an excuse. Then all of a sudden, I knew I had to get away from the bungalow. This was my chance to escape complete demoralization. Sure thing, I said. I'll pick you up as soon as I shave. Give me 20 minutes? It was a relaxing drive to Fort Able in the rain. Polly and I chatted about myself, and she hadn't realized until her brother had told me that I was such a well-known athlete. I said, shucks, there are a lot better and more famous and certainly richer pros out there, and there wasn't much future in it. And I entertained her with anecdotes about my teammates. In the theater, she slipped her hand into mine. I held it cozily, a soft, warm, young hand, not brown and strong with a wedding ring on the third finger. I held her hand, and after the premiere, we had a snack in the restaurant, and she was sweet and pretty, and it was pleasant being with her. Until on the way home, she said suddenly, Harry, I love you. She said it quietly without turning her face into me. I was terribly sorry. I groped for words, and those finally uttered words were no better than any others. You don't mean it, Polly. I love you. I've no pride. She shifted along the seat and put her hand on my wheel. You must care for me, or you wouldn't have made me love me. You must care for me, or you wouldn't have made love to me like that at the creek. I was a heel, Polly. She started to weep. The rain pounded on the car, washed the road, and swayed the trees. I drove slowly into the downpour. Beside me, she sniffled. I gave her my pocket handkerchief, and she wiped her eyes and blew her nose. I just can't help, she quivered. I wish I hated you, but I love you. I almost told her I wasn't worth it, but I caught myself in time, saving myself in her meaningless cliche. I was silent. Harry, there's another woman, isn't there? No, that was true and not true. I wouldn't have given her the same answer before I'd ever met Layla Doan. There is, she insisted. George said you'd cracked up over a woman. It was the woman who visited you last week, wasn't it? We were divorced, and that was that. I didn't crack up. I had too much basketball, and I needed a rest. And what's wrong with me? You like me, don't you? Well, I'm very fond of you. As I drove, I was thinking that I could be happy with her, happier than I had ever been with Gail, because it would be placid and well-ordered. She would bring me the peace and emotional security I had lost when I married Gail, and it wouldn't be too hard for me to get her to love me. And Layla Doan, she was nobody who would ever be good for me. A man didn't necessarily want what was good for him. Fond of me, she said in a quiet outrage, and now I guess you wouldn't want to see me ever again. Wouldn't that be better? Please, Harry, don't stay away. I couldn't stand it. All right, I said. We had reached North Set. Night was descending early because of the storm. In the half-light, I glanced at her, sitting huddled beside me. She raised her face and her round little jaw jutting defiantly. Harry, if there's another woman, I'll kill her before I'll let her have you. She pulled up the side of the store building. Stop talking nonsense, I said irritably. You think it's nonsense, don't you? She pushed open the door and ran across the rain to the entrance. I thought I heard her sobbing as she ran. I had never wished for anything that this hadn't happened. I was back in the bungalow for a full minute before I realized that I hadn't looked for a note from Layla Doan. I searched and I didn't find one. The edge of disappointment had become more slightly blunted. Maybe it was a good sign. More likely, I was only emotionally tired. The storm had broken the heat spell, and the weather was right for a fire. Days ago, I had gotten in some exercise borrowing from the Hickeys a bandsaw, wedges, a sledgehammer, and I had cut and split logs and filled the wooden bin beside the fireplace. I built a fire and settled in beside it with the Sunday Times I had picked up in Fort Able. I couldn't read. I gave up midway through the news and turned to the double acrostic in the magazine section. But I hadn't finished the one I had started this morning. I tried it again, and when I had the solution, I reread it several times. O. Henry, the hiding of Black Bill. A man is asleep, certainly a sight to make angels weep. Now a woman asleep you regard as different. No matter how she looks, you know it's better for all hands she be that way. A wise man, O. Henry. I crumpled up the paper and tossed it into the fire. I put on 2 fresh logs and turned off all the lights and sat staring into the flames and listening to the rain on the roof. But only the setting was right for a man at peace. Everything else was wrong. If I had liquor in the house, it would have been a good time to get really drunk. I shouldn't have come to Norsset. All I needed was some sense to pack up tomorrow and leave. There were other bungalows and other fireplaces. The door opened. She hadn't knocked and just came in. Well, guys, that is it for this chapter of House of Flash. Holy moly. I bet you who just walked in that door. What do you bet? That's Layla Doan. I bet that's Layla Doan, and she is there for a night of heat. Holy moly. That is some sauce, let me tell you. And man, I'll tell you, I don't know that I like this Polly Wellman. I think she's a little bit too emotionally attached and probably doesn't need to be since they just got to know each other. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, LJ. Yes, give this video a thumbs up. That's a big help. And hello, Lynn. Thanks so much for joining us. Yeah, whoa, Polly. Polly saying I love you. I think that's a little bit too fast. Polly, you go, girl. Proud American says. Yeah, Polly's a little weird. She seems like the jealous type, you know? So I don't know. And she's a little bit, you know, ahead of the game, I think. Oh, no, I was just getting comfortable, Linda says. Well, sorry about that, Linda. You can go back and catch whatever you missed on the replay. And Proud American is saying, that guy is pretty popular with the ladies. Yes, he is. I think all the ladies want him. I'm waiting for the Layla and Polly fight. Me too, Bob. And I'm waiting for Dr. Kenneth Doan to find out about it. Yes, Night of Heat. That way I don't get demonetized. But, you know, who knows? This book could get pretty saucy, and I'm probably already going to get demonetized. Yeah, Polly needs therapy. Polly, something's not quite right with Polly. Yeah, Polly seems like she's the jealous type, and she's going to get really mad, you know, when she finds out about Layla, and she just doesn't seem, you know, you don't just say I love you on the first like outing or second outing with another person. That's a lot. So I don't know. I'm interested with Polly there, and her brother just seems really weird. I see the wife is going to be murdered. Possibly, very possibly. That Dr. Doan, man, he's a creepy fella, I have to say. Hi, Katie and everyone. Going to have to watch on the replays. So sad I missed this. No worries, Kat. That's what replays are for. Yes, that is what replays are for. This was a fun chapter, and I can't wait to see what happens in the next chapter. I think we're going to get some more steamy sauce from the next chapter because I think that Layla Doan walked in that door. But I don't read ahead. I only read the chapter right before I'm going to go live. That way I can, you know, get familiar with it a little bit, but I don't know any more than you guys do. I don't read ahead either. I won't give spoilers. So we are following this sort of in real time each week, which I think is kind of fun to discover this book together. So that's exciting. Okay, guys, so I want to make sure we all get a chance to get over to the different lives tonight, get some dinner, get settled in. Let's see, Bob saying everyone here could be murdered. Yep, it could be that everybody gets murdered. I don't know. There's just something weird. Yeah, except the narrator. That's very possible, Bob. You're right. Bob, who's in the chats, Duop54, he collects vintage books as well as he used to collect records. So he's very knowledgeable on these kinds of things. And I think that he's seen several of these plot lines play out before, which is fun. So, guys, I want to make sure we get a chance to get on over to all the different events tonight. It is coming up 7 o'clock, and tonight, Vintage Rescue Squad is on again with Patrick, Trusty Huckster Mercantile, Cindy at Mimi's Treasure Cottage, and Misty, and then Michael Todd. So that's going to be at 8 o'clock on Thrifter, Junker, Vintage Hunters channel. Tim at Over the Years, Ma Dukes, and Josie are having their live sale at 8 o'clock on Over the Years channel. Great vintage items, fabulous prices, so you can check into that. And then George the Antique Nomad will be having his premiere at 8 o'clock Eastern. So lots happening tonight. Very exciting evening on Mondays for the vintage community. And there's probably lots going on in the vinyl community as well. So if you're interested in a record sale, I believe Adam from Record Crate will be having his nightly sales if you want some really good bargains on records. And I'm sure there's lots more happening, but the calendar's full, and those are the things that I know of. So you can always do split screens, have something on the TV, on the computer, on the iPad, on the phone, on the iPad, on the computer, whatever combination worked for you. And I'll try to make my rounds to everything tonight. I'm going to jump off a little bit earlier than normal and finish getting all these invoices out from my sale. Everything is packed. I just now need to invoice everybody. So that's a good thing. So all the packages from the live sale that I had with Sean from Key Totally Vintage, that was this Saturday. If you bought something, thank you so much. And all your items will be going out tomorrow, U.S. mail. So that's very exciting about that. And I hope that you all have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I will see you at all the different live events coming up tonight. And I forgot to mention, this is very exciting. This Wednesday, instead of my regular Wednesday vintage video, I'm going to be coming live from Eco Relics. I'm going to go over to Eco Relics, that amazing architectural salvage yard, and we're going to try a live shop with me. Now, I hope it goes well. I hope the internet works and there's no buffering. But we're going to give it a go, and I think this will be lots of fun. So coming up, that will be very, very exciting, and you want to stay tuned for that. Don't know a time yet. I'm going to look at the schedule and see what works. But I will see you guys on Wednesday. Live shop with me from Eco Relics. All right. So I hope, as always, you will stay in, stay safe, and binge YouTube. Bye-bye now.
What?